All right, hello and welcome. We're going to be starting up the stream here in just a moment. We're going to be playing some Age of Wonders Planetfall, a game that is coming out tomorrow, so we get to take a little bit of an advanced look at it. I've already played it for, according to Steam, 4 hours, just to test some things out. Didn't do anything in depth with it, so it'll be kind of like a learning process as we go along too. But the impression that I got from this game so far, if you're familiar with Age of Wonders 3, which I am familiar with, I have played that game, you're going to have a lot of similarities. So although there will be differences, they're not huge differences, so it's very easy to get, if you have practiced or remember how that game works, it's fairly easy to get into this game as well. Let me go ahead and start some things up. And I have to remind myself, one thing that's kind of annoying about this game, from a content creator standpoint, is I have my Steam set up so that it auto logs into my Paradox account. And in most cases, that's not a problem. But for whatever reason for this game, rather than it using my username for my login, it puts up my actual email address, which this is not an email address that I'd like to make public. So I'm going to have to log out when I join the game. If you are a fellow content creator and you are using an email that you would prefer not displayed on your screen, it would be advisable to log out before you start streaming. Big reason why is that the email address I use kind of has my real name in it, which I'm not really as ready to share. So I have just logged out. Let me see if we can capture things. I'm not really sure where to put my head right now. We're going to have to take a look at the interface and kind of decide. When I was playing this before, I wasn't really envisioning where like the user interface is and where I'd be putting my camera. So we'll play through. But just to give you guys a little bit of an overview of things, what we're going to do through the course of this playthrough is we're going to go through the campaigns, but I'm also going to demonstrate to you guys or show you guys what the character customization is like and what the scenario kind of setup is going to be. Hey there, Supreme Plague. Let's see. So first off, commander customization. So just like with Age of Wonders 3, you have a lot of default commanders. And there are not a huge number of races in the game right now. So you've got the Kirko. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but these guys are like your insectoid race. And you get a little bit of a breakdown of what they're all about. As a matter of fact, let me move my head over into the lower right corner, because right now that's not going to block anything. Well, hopefully I can demonstrate the game to you and give you guys a little bit of a heads up if you are interested in the game. So, in any case, yeah, so the Kirko, this gives you kind of an overview of what their racials are going to be. So they're focused on bioweapons, all these things are going to be their focus. But then you have other things that you set up with the race when you customize it as well. So outside of the racial choice, you also have kind of your like tech tree emphasis. This is kind of be like your end game weapon style. So this particular character is set up for the Xenoplague, but if you look at some of the other characters, like this one's same race, but they're set up for a different kind of tech group. And then you have some traits that you can pick up as well. Some of these are going to be your faction, like they're going to give you bonuses to your faction. Some of them are going to give you bonuses to your hero character. So let's go through the customization so that you guys can see that. So, oh, the custom guy I made isn't here. Oh, that's right, because I made him Vanguard. Oh yeah, so there's Kirko, there's Syndicate. These are kind of your merchants. You've got the Amazons. Again, kind of a bio engineering leaning, but they use more or less like use like dinosaurs or what have you, like genetically engineered creatures, and they ride around on those rather than vehicles and stuff like that. That's kind of lean there. I haven't really seen them play too much, so that's just, I've got a rough idea. Mostly they just played Vanguard so far. You've got the Devar, which are more or less your dwarves. You have the Assembly, which is your cyborg race. And then finally the Vanguard. Vanguard's the only one I made a custom character with so far. So this is Morgan Kell, who's Vanguard, and I'm going to go through like all the choices. So we're going to go ahead and go customize, so you can see like when you want to make your own guy, like what the process is. So again, you pick what race you're going to be, so you just do that through there. I hope that didn't just erase everything for this character. Probably it did. You pick your secret technology, so this is going to be, again, think of it like your end game. So I have it Promethean, and this is what it's going to give you. It's also going to give your character your starting equipment, for more or less. So by picking Promethean, my character starts with this, it's more or less like a flamethrower, but it's like a plasma-based weapon that can burn the enemy, catch them on fire and stuff. So that's going to be that character's starting weapon. So the different choices you have is going to dictate what kind of gear your hero has, but there's also going to be a tech tree thing related to it, and you get kind of like a breakdown of what you can expect from that tech tree here. The other ones we have synthesis. So there's AIs, and then you've got other things related to that. So you can deploy AI demons into battle. So this one, you had other things you could deploy as well. There's like, you know, creatures or machines that you could deploy. Think of that again, like if you're using Age of Wonders 3 or you're thinking about Age of Wonders 3, it's like your spells. There's the tactical spells and the strategic spells. Same thing in this game. You've got tactical operations, they call it, rather than spells. Tactical operations, and there's strategic operations. So you're going to have tech related to that. So synthesis. You have Celestian, so this is going to be more focused on your psionics type stuff. You have Void Tech, so this is going to be like teleportation, phase shifting, stuff like that is Void Tech. You've got the Xenoplague. This one's kind of a little more obvious, but it's biochemical type stuff. I believe this is psionic stuff too, but I think it's more emphasis on like evil type stuff. Like there was like dark magic or what have you in Age of Wonders 3. This is pretty much your dark magic in this game. And that's pretty much it. So those are all your different tech groups that you can pick. Then you have your background. So these are going to be, you've got 3 points to spend normally. So if we pick no on all of these. Oh yeah, I picked a Vice, which gave me an extra point. But if you have nothing selected, you're going to have 3 points to spend. And it's perfectly acceptable to have no selection if you want to spend heavier in another area. So I picked Veteran, and there's these little diamonds next to something if it's like recommended as a starter player, right? So what Veteran's going to do, it's going to give your hero a little higher level, so you can spend some skill points right away, and your units gain experience faster. So, hey Pug. We've got Skilled Diplomat, so you get extra relation points and so on and so forth. You've got Martial Tradition, so decreased weapon research, so you get a little bit of a buff for your weapons research. And once per turn, when your commander kills a unit in combat, they immediately regain all action points. So you can, you know, kind of go with like a berserker style of play with this if you want. Merchant Scion, so you get some economy bonuses and what have you. Star Union Scholar, you get some secret technology research bonuses and other things on the map that you encounter, you get more rewards for. And then you've got Covert Operative, and this is going to be Society research is going to be a little cheaper. So you've got your military research, you've got your secret tech, and then you've got your social tech that you can get bonuses for with this. And this is your character background here. And you've got your colony set up. So where I was saying that this what you pick here, your Promethean or what have you, your setup can be based off of that, but you do have to spend points for it. So if you just go with basic equipment, you're just going to get a laser rifle and a grenade as your equipment. But if you go with this, for example, the Promethean assault equipment, that's specific to your tech. So if we change that, you'll note that it does change with what you have here. So that's one thing that you can kind of like build your characters around. You can go more close combat emphasis. You can take a sniper rifle. You can have one of two vehicles. One's a more combat vehicle, one's a support vehicle. And then your vices. So the vices are going to give you more points. So like with the layout that I did, I had veteran. I think I went with military deployment, I think. And then I went with the Promethean assault, but I needed a point to do that. So I went with cruel. So what does cruel do? You're a villain, so you have unhappiness amongst your colonies. But every time you get a kill, you get some morale for your armies. So there is a bonus to that. You have kleptomaniac. Most of these I've seen have a bad point, but they also have a good point too. So embezzlement, you take 10 energy from your empire each turn. So more or less you lose economy, because energy is more or less like your gold, if you want to think about it that way. And then swipe, you stole something during your training, giving you a random mod that makes you that works with your loadout. So you get a free upgrade, more or less, a free equipment upgrade. You've got party animal. Reckless partying and festivals reduce productivity in all colonies, reducing their production points by 10%. I actually don't know where the experience comes from just yet. I haven't played enough. We'll try and take a look at that. We'll see. We can be the baddies, Pug, if you want to. But the good side of this is while you are the commander of an army, everyone is having a good time. Units in your stack gain plus 100 morale. This one seems kind of like rough, though. Your economy is really hurt, but your armies have better morale. So it's kind of... I don't know if that's a fair trade, but you do get 2 points for it, so that's why you get 2 points for it, because it's kind of rough. Stubborn. You defunded the science department in your mission budget, reducing your colony's knowledge by 10%, so that's going to really hurt you for research. The benefit, though, is you teach your army how to refuse changes like you do. You and your commanding army gain +2 resistance to status effects. So that's good. Like, there's mind control and all kinds of things in this game. So your army would be more resistant to that if you pick this. Of course, again, the technology debuff is going to be pretty significant, which is why this is worth 2 points. And then finally, you have decadent. So you own part of your colony's food industry, making them work for you and those of your upper echelon, reducing food production by 10%, which means your colonies are going to grow slower, and there's going to be, you know, a bunch of negative effects from that. So this is, you know, again, it's a rougher thing. But the good side of this is you have an improved constitution due to your wealthy upbringing, giving you a hit points increase of 10 hit points. So that gives you kind of a rough idea. So for me, for this character, I went with the Promethean assault equipment. I had to use cruel to do that. You know, it is what it is. So moving on, now that we've picked more or less our stats, then you have the character customization screen itself. It looks like it didn't reset anything that I did. And there's a whole bunch of choices. You've got backgrounds that you can choose if you want to have different aesthetics. You have your, you know, your posture, you know, depending on how you want the guy to look. You know, his stance, you know, all these different customization things that you want to do. You can name your character, you can come up with your emblem, and all of that. That's pretty much the character customization in a nutshell. I just wanted to break that down real quick for you guys, so you get a little bit of an idea where a lot of the things come from. Let's go ahead and back out of this. So this character, because I created them, they're going to be constantly saved, but we have a whole bunch of pre-generated characters, which again, that's very similar to Age of Wonders 3. All right, let's go ahead and get into the campaign itself so you can see the gameplay in action. I think we just go new campaign.
The currents of the void shift around me. Follow my voice, my last possession. My name was Empress Carmenia, and I was the last regent of the Star Union. We built a paradise on 1,000 planets, a glistening web strung between the stars. But the cataclysm shattered all, leaving our people stranded and alien to one another. Whoever you are, whatever you have become, it is time to leave this dark age behind and return to the worlds of your ancestors. Uncover our secrets, but heed our mistakes. Forge a new empire, a new age of wonders.
So that gives you guys a little bit of a background of the story. There's a little bit more to it. But to start off, you have the tutorial, which I've already completed. And then you have 3 campaigns, which doing these campaigns will open up more scenarios or more campaigns later. They will let you know what you need to complete. So, for example, for this continuation of the Vanguard story, you have to complete the campaign that I've currently selected. So the 3 that we have is a Vanguard campaign, we have the Kirko campaign, and then you have the Devar campaign. That's your initial, and then as you do those, you're going to unlock more. Actually, oh, I thought this was, okay. It looked like it wasn't grayed out, so at first I thought we were good. So you can see, there's quite a bit of scenarios. Now, I haven't played any of these yet, so I don't know how long they take. So this is going to be our hero if we do this campaign. I'm going to go ahead and do the Vanguard because I'm more familiar with them. We have Jack Gelder. He is Vanguard. And the Vanguard consists of rough folk with few ties to society, so the effects of long interstellar travel and cryo-sleep and the resulting time dilation doesn't matter to them. So you've got a firearms weapon group, laser weapons group, deploy combat drones and turrets, use of propaganda and military force, powerful range units, weak melee capability. So we've got a lot of range emphasis with these guys. And then we are set up for Void Tech. So Void Tech warps the laws of physics, allowing the manipulation and teleportation of matter and energy. Command highly mobile units that can teleport and pass through obstacles. Create temporal clones of units. Destabilize and decelerate enemies. Use the arc and kinetic damage channels. And then we have his perks. So he has Vanguard Assault Equipment, which is going to give him range specialist, increased damage dealt when using ranged weapons. Steady aim increases your accuracy when behind cover. He gets to start with a laser rifle that deals thermal damage and a basic grenade that deals kinetic damage in an area and stagger those hit. This will also a big thing with this game is and I think this was in Age of Wonders 3. It's been a little while since I played Age of Wonders 3. Age of Wonders 3, which, if I remember correctly, you did have cover. With our race being very much a ranged emphasis, that cover is going to be even more important. So grenades will come into play because we can use that to destroy terrain. He has no background trait, which is fine. You can do that. And then he has military detachment. A strong military force is always a good idea, so you are sure to recruit extra soldiers to join you on your expedition. You start the game with a larger standing army, and then he doesn't have any vice. So just to explain really quickly, because not all of this I think was said, although some of this may be uncovered. From what I understand of the Vanguard worked for this great star empire, which has fallen. It has fallen apart, more or less. They were, as Vanguard, they were out on the outer reaches, pretty much colonizing remote worlds. This cataclysm happened, which from what I understand from what the tutorial kind of goes over, because when you're in the tutorial, the cataclysm hasn't happened yet. Well, the cataclysm happens, and it cuts off FTL travel. So the Vanguard, they go back to the Star Empire through more or less sublight means, and they go into long cryosleep to do it. So they've been asleep for hundreds of years. But they're an old throwback to the old Star Empire, more or less. Alright, so now we can pick our difficulty. I think we'll go with... I mean, as much as it's the first time I'm playing, I'm going to go with Advanced, because I have played these type of games before, and hopefully it doesn't kick our butt too hard. But we just have the 3 difficulties, Beginner, Advanced, Expert. And then Hero Resurgence. This is pretty much, if a hero dies, they will come back. Your main character like Jack Elder, I think even with this turned off, he can't die. He will always come back. But your other recruited heroes, I believe, if you put this on never, they die permanently. I'm just going to keep it on the default for now, and we'll just see how it goes. But we may change that later, depending on how we feel about it. Okay, that's pretty much it. We could customize our commander if we want to, but I'm just going to go with what the default they give me, and we'll kind of like go with what the campaign gives me for each of the different scenarios. All right, let's start the mission.
Commander's personal record. Vanguard Expeditionary Forces. Cryosleep cycle completed. No casualties. Time since launch, 197 years. We're finally back. After a storm destroyed our hyperspace passage, we had to take the long way around. Most of us joined the Vanguard to escape our past. 2 centuries should be enough to give everybody a clean slate.
And I will point out that the Vanguard doesn't know that the Star Empire fell apart. So they're kind of like coming into this not knowing. So at least that's the impression I've been given from the story that we've gotten so far. Hey, Ursi. Glad to have you here.
Time to contact Vanguard Central Command. We're heading for Leave 6, the military transit hub in this section of the borderlands. The crew is already speculating about visiting the Elysium parks. Gambling, booze, and promiscuous androids. Oh well, after 2 centuries of sleep, it's time for some fun.
Promiscuous androids. All right. Have they turned into killbots now since the 200 years, though? We'll have to find out.
Something is wrong. We have reached the Leave 6 star system, but instead of orbital patrol, there was only scattered wreckage awaiting our arrival. While searching for survivors, we spotted a ship of unknown configuration. Entering the planet's atmosphere, it ignored our hails. Residual void interference prevents us from scanning the surface.
Well, I think, Pug, that it hasn't, because the Star Empire was a very powerful, like, technologically advanced entity. And although the Vanguard were kind of, like, on the outskirts and probably didn't have, like, full inventory of that kind of technology, I think there's definitely been a decline. Think of this like the Dark Ages, I think, is like the way to think about this. All right, let's go ahead and...
The Elysium parks must wait. We have a new mission. We need to assess the strategic situation on Leave 6. Contact Vanguard Central Command and help them clean up this mess. Prepare for Planetfall, for the Vanguard, and for the Union.
Oh, it was the Star Union. That's what it was called. I was trying to remember what it was called. All right, so we got world size tiny, landmass, well, it's land. Very little water on this planet, mostly land coverage. So our current objective is find out what happened on the planet and find the alien ship. I don't remember them talking about an alien ship. I may not have been paying attention to that part, though. Classic streamer blindness and lack of focus. All right, let's start the game. I will say pretty quick load times. I don't even have this on my SSD, and that was fast. They may have done some clever stuff in the background, though, with the, while the, story stuff was, playing, but even still, that's good design. Alright, with the base camp set, we're ready to march out. Down here, it's the same desolate image as in orbit. It's all desert and charred ruins. The tropical paradise Vanguard Central created for their soldiers gone to hell. Someone has been fighting a war here. The question is, who and when? Oh, they said they saw a ship. Okay. So far, none of our standard frequency calls have been answered. If there are any survivors, they're either cut off from communications or unwilling to talk. Time to search the old-fashioned way with our laser rifles ready. Sounds like the good way to do it. Oh, we got a beep beep bleep bleep. I kind of wish this was voiced and I didn't have to do it. The robot ambles playfully. Would you look at that, Lieutenant Jiang? Your little friend is making himself comfortable in this rotten place. Oh, by the way, you'd like to know what the name of that robot is, Pug? Guess what? It's Pug. And I'm not making that up. It's actually called the Pug. Yes, sir. But it's no surprise. My brother used to be stationed at one of the Leave 6 repair stations. This is where we assembled apples. I don't know what that is. He must be feeling He must be feeling he's close to his... Hey, Tapples! What do you think you were doing? Oh, Tapples is the robot. Ah. Beep, bleep! The robot slips through one of the still unfinished sections of the camp wall. He dashes straight into the desert. Okay. Okay, so search for survivors. Send out your OWL scouts to look for any Star Union presence in the vicinity. Hint, not all armies on the strategic map are hostile to you. Only when an army banner is showing a skull, you should be careful to interact with it. Okay. I know that there's NPC factions. Alright, find the alien ship. Locate the landing spot of the unknown vessel. And this is an exploration quest. Use your scout units or other fast-moving units to complete it. And we do get rewards for doing these things. This would be tech that we would get, and this is resources. I'll go over all the interface and stuff as soon as we're here. Oh, we've got quite a few objectives. Okay. Locate Tapples. Find out whether Lieutenant Jiang's pet pug has run off. Where he's run off to. Geez. This is an adventure quest. Make sure to bring an army when you move to the target location. So we've got research points and production points if we do that one. Okay. Now that we're here, let's go over all of the stuff that we're looking at right now. So we'll go over the interface first. On your first turn, you cannot do research, so you have to wait until you end the turn. I'm noticing my head is kind of in the way. Probably the upper right corner is where I'm going to put stuff, because all you have over here is the menu and archives type stuff. So I'm going to move my head up there because I don't think that will cover up anything important. Alrighty. We've got the mini map over here, which was what I was covering earlier. Alright, so let's start on the upper left. So these are your research. You have 2 trees that you can research simultaneously. So one tree will not affect the other. I can't even open it right now though, so we'll worry about that next turn because we gotta wait that first turn. You never can do research in your first turn. We've got our diplomacy screen. Right now it's going to be pretty empty because we haven't encountered anybody. So not really a whole lot we can do here just yet. But there will be other factions we can encounter as well as NPC factions. It has similarities with like Civ and a bunch of other games, yeah. It's that style of game, kind of more or less. We have operations. We don't really have any tech for this yet, but this is where you're going to have your tactical, strategic, and so on operations. Think of this like Magic and the previous Age of Wonders games, which were more fantasy oriented. You have your objectives. There's going to be a number of things that you can do, and there's going to be rewards for doing them. So, like, let's just, as an example, we'll click on one of these. So we've got a military unity and development. So we click on this. So this planet is filled with resources and riches, but they are guarded by savages and dusty old remnants of the past. We should take up arms against these people so that the treasures of this world will be ours. Declare war on an NPC faction. Kill 2 armies belonging to an NPC faction. So this is a very aggressive stance, but if we do it, we get a reward, which is the Invader, which is a propaganda boost. Units gain 400 morale in battle against independent units. So this works specifically against NPC units. And then we get another thing here. This is for doing it first, so being the pioneer here. Awarded to first commander completing the task. So think of this like your wonders in the Civ games, right? Whoever gets there first. Well, actually, honestly, you can only build a wonder if you're the first one, right? If I'm remembering Civ correctly. So if you're the first one to do it, you get this. You get a tier 1 unit at your capital colony. And there are going to be rewards for all of these different things that you can do, and you have to do them in sequence. So after you're done with Invader, you would do the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and then your final one is to be the last man standing. That would be your actual victory condition, right? And then we have ones that are for other things. So we've got Emissary, do 2 quests for NPC factions. So this would be more or less the opposite of the other one we just looked at, where you have to be friendly with the NPC factions. And achieve peace with an NPC faction. So for this one, we get 100% more influence from quests, which is one of our resources, and we get 25 influence right then if we do it, if we're the first ones to do it. And then finally, we have the Builder. Add a sector to your capital, exploit a colony sector, found a second colony. By doing that, we get colony structures require 20% less production to build, which is quite nice. And then we have, this is, by the way, an operation. So you've got a priming cost and other things involved with this. So this is not like a permanent thing. And I'm pretty sure that was how the other ones worked as well. Yeah, these are an operation that you get to unlock. I'm sorry if I was not clear on that. Okay, so yeah, so you get this operation. Pretty good operation. You also get a free colonist, being the pioneer. All right. So that's pretty much all your different things that you can do. And then you have your objectives that we've been given through the scenario. So we have the search for survivors, find the alien ship, and so on. We'll get more quests from NPC factions and what have you as time goes on. So we will get more. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the campaign. Like, even if you were playing just a scenario, you would get those quests as well. Okay, moving on. We have our colony overview, which is just going to give us an idea of all the colonies we have. Right now, we only have one colony, but this is a way you could quick select things if you wanted to. And also get a little bit of information about them. We have a military overview. This is going to give you an idea of your armies. So right now we have 2 armies, and we have 2 hero commanders. These were the same hero commanders that are in the tutorial. So if you play the tutorial, you will get an introduction to these characters. And then you have your armies. And we'll go over to the units a little bit later. And then finally, we have the template manager. This we'll get into more later, but right now we really don't have any templates. We just have the basic units. Okay, that's pretty much that. Let's go over the resources. So you have your energy, which is pretty much like your gold, if you want to think about it that way. This is where you're going to spend money for upkeep and things, and a lot of the things you're going to recruit or build cost you energy to do so. So just think of that as gold, and it's the best way to think of it, or your currency. We have Cosmite. This rare material originates beyond the void and blah, 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 blah. More or less, this is your, like, raw resources that a lot of the things that you need to build that are a little bit more advanced require. To equip a unit with mods. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Mods oftentimes will cost you Cosmite, which is like an upgrade to your unit's abilities and what have you. Then you have your knowledge. This is more or less going to be your intake for research. So think of this as like beakers in civilization or what have you. Then you have influence. Influence is a diplomatic currency used to manipulate other players and NPC factions. It can be used for things like asking NPCs to move from locations and so on. And if you get friendly with an NPC faction, you can hire units from them, and then that's going to cost you influence. So that's what that's for. You have your more or less... Think of this as happiness and civilization. This is more or less how your empire's doing. If this starts getting negative, you'll have uprisings and what have you. So that's bad if that happens. You have your tactical operation points. This is like going to dictate how often you can use that. Use those tactical operations that we've kind of seen a little bit of from your objectives that you can gain a couple of those. And then there's the strategic. Now, the difference between tactical and strategic is just where you use them. Tactical is going to be used in combat. Strategic is going to be used on the map that we're on right now. And then finally, we have doctrine slots. I haven't really seen doctrines yet, so this one I'm not all that familiar with. So we'll just have to see how that goes as we advance. Then we've got our alerts. So I think with Vanguard, you could go either way. Although they are definitely militaristic, and the way that our particular guy was set up is more militaristic. So we'll see. I'll try and take a balanced approach, but we'll see. So these are just little pop-ups that happen. Again, think of like Civilization. So you click on this, it just gives you a little bit of an idea of stuff. So you can end this mission by investigating what happened. So this is kind of like giving us an idea of our victory conditions and what have you. And then this is just showing us that overview here, just like a quick thing. And then you have your... Somebody needs to be ordered to do stuff. All right, so that's a lot of the stuff. Let's... First thing we're going to want to do is select our colony here. So our colony is in this sector. You can see the sector glowing right now. So the best way to think of this is, and this is a little bit different than the way Age of Wonders work. Let's deselect so you can see. You see these borders here? Those are sectors. So there's a sector right next to us, the Harvest Mountains. You can click on that sector, and you get some information about it. The way you expand in this game is by expanding into sectors. You can do that a couple different ways. But usually speaking, you can only expand into a sector that is adjacent to you. With the one exception, like colonies is another way that you can claim a sector. You can't put a colony in a sector that's right next to another colony. There has to be some separation. So, as an example, if we wanted to put a colony down, we couldn't put it in the Lost Virtues Ashland. We'd have to put it over in this Sunvisor Sands if we wanted to. So that's the thing about that. And when I clicked on this, you get your choices on how to annex it. So we could annex the sector for our colony here. We can build a forward base using influence. We can found a colony, which we can't do because it's too close. So there is spread out things there. But like, for example, for this, let's say we wanted to claim this sector, right? This is their stipulation. Sector limit reach. So right now, our problem is we don't have enough colonists. As we get more colonists, we'll be able to expand into more sectors. So when we go back to our colony, the first thing we're going to want to do, and I selected that by selecting the army, and then clicking again to select the colony. If there's nobody here, selecting the colony would be the first thing you would get. But if there's a unit on top, click, then click. All right, so we've got unit production, pretty straightforward. Right now we can only build 2 units, and this is based off of the tech we have right now. So this is your basic infantry, this is your basic scout, more or less. We've got all of the buildings we can build based off of what tech we have available and what buildings we've already built. We have sector production. So this is the thing where we would, well, this is what we would build onto the sector. And then we have... I thought I told you... Might be under growth? I forget where it tells you how many sectors you can claim. Might be under one of these information slots. So this is our colonist information. So this is how many colonists we have. 3 of 16. So 16 would be our maximum, unless we were able to modify it. How much food we're making. So this is yet another resource. We don't see up here because it's like really dependent upon the colony itself and what it can produce. But we have growth in 3 turns. And I know for a fact we will not be able to expand into a sector until we grow 1 more population. So we cannot grow for 3 turns, more or less. Unless we can up our food production, of course. We have our current happiness, so 6 of 40. So we're getting plus 6. Apparently we have events, which I haven't really experienced too much. And then this is like colonist management. So you can move your colonists around as you wish. Think of this as like civilization. You're moving your guys on different resources. So you can kind of drag them around. Right now, it's fine where the production is. But as we get a population point, probably with the auto-assign, it will put it into research or what have you. Then we're going to move over to the information here. So this is all the things that we have on here. Our sector information, like what we could be getting from that and what have you. And other things. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but we'll figure it out as we go. But that's more or less all the stuff you can see. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to build something, right? And I think that, at least for our colony, you only have 1 central building. That's really important. So right now, we have to choose which central thing we want. All the central things are going to focus on a particular resource. So this one is going to give you energy. This one's going to give you food. This one's going to give you production points. And this one's going to give you research. But once you make that choice, that's the choice you're stuck with. So I'm going to go with the central replicator factory so we can get things produced faster. That's going to take us 2 turns to produce. We're going to go ahead and click that and hit produce. You can also double click it to produce it as well. And if you're not producing anything, it's going to generate energy. Again, think of like civilization. You're going to generate gold rather than build something. Okay, that's pretty much it for the colony. Let's go over our units. Learning the units is a little bit of a thing to this game. So first we've got our hero here. And these are all the things he has. So he's a laser rifle, a grenade. We kind of already went over that. But he also has some other abilities that we can look at here. And these are going to be coming into play in combat. So he can go into defensive mode. Most units can do this, but this is pretty much going to make them harder to hit. Rather than attack, they go like they hunker down, more or less. He's got mind control immunity, so if somebody has mind control, they can't use it on him. That's good. We have Overwatch. I don't know if Overwatch was in Age of Wonders 3, but it's definitely a thing in this game. And it's going to be something we use a lot because of our range combat emphasis. We'll see how that works later. And Resurgence, which pretty much means he'll be revived after death. Attacks with ranged weapons are 15% more accurate. And we can add on a lot of these things too by leveling him up. Once we get skill points, we can go into this and we can add on a lot of abilities. Again, very similar to Age of Wonders 3. And then he's got a whole lot of bunch of other things. Some of these are just like, you know, he's biological type. So things that affect biological things more than other, like, unit types will affect him more. He's a commander. He's a hero. He is infantry type, although we could modify that by allowing him to ride a vehicle, which we could do by giving him piloting. So you can modify that type. He's got land movement. He's a light unit. And then he's Vanguard race. So a lot of these things, you wouldn't necessarily have an ability based off of this, but it's important because there's a lot of other things that may interact with that. For example, biological. I know there's mods you can get later that will do more damage to biological units. So, you know, like that's something that is important. Whereas if we click on the assault bike here, the assault bike is not biological, it's mechanical. So again, similar things here. But we can see some things here. So we've got the different attacks. One thing that's kind of tricky with this game is you can see how many action points a action will take. And we'll get into this more when we get into combat. But sometimes a unit can, although it takes 1 action point to attack with, if they have, let's say they have 3 action points, which is the most that you're going to have. And they didn't do anything else, and they just attack, they'd get 3 attacks. Some attacks don't work that way, though. They get 1 attack regardless of how many action points they cost. So this is a unit that's like kind of important to get that idea. And I don't think it says it anywhere, unless I'm mistaken. So if I use this attack, I can only get 1 attack. So anyway, yeah, so you got 2 different attacks here. One's going to be a focus, just straight damage, and one's going to be like an area effect. This is very powerful ability. It's got very limited range though. You see the little the 1 with a hex. It's the 3rd thing over, left to right. That's your range. So this has a range of 5. This has a range of 1. So you have to be right on top of guys, but it does have an area effect, like kind of cone kind of shape that goes out in front of it. So it can hit multiple targets, and it's pretty high damage output. So you got defense, which pretty much everything has. Psionic resistance, because it's mostly mechanical. You've got stagger resistance, because of it's heavier. Weakness to arc, which is more or less electricity attacks. This is a very interesting thing to keep in mind. Exposed flank. So if this unit gets flanked, their armor gets reduced by 2. And considering that they have 4 armor, that like halves their armor. So we have to be really careful with this unit to not be flanked. So just like there's stuff like this where you just have to learn the different attributes of the units and how to use them the most effectively. So our basic infantry unit, the Vanguard Trooper, has an assault rifle, a grenade, defense mode. You got Overwatch, steady aim, and then biological core means they're a basic unit, infantry, land movement, light unit, so on. Rangers mostly, yeah, I mean, we may have problems with the close units. Sorry, I think too much into BSG. I don't know what BSG means. Alright, so that's pretty much it. We do have this other commander over here, and she has the OWL units, which are kind of like our scouts. These guys fly around, and they're fairly fast. But they don't have a ton of hit points, I don't think. Let's compare that to our basic infantry. So our basic infantry has 40 hit points. The owls only have 30. So they're a little, you know, they're not really mainline combat units, but they'll get you like a lot of information if you scout around with them. I actually don't know if traveling around with our hero makes sense or not. They also have Farsight, which gives them more vision range anyways, which is just adding into their abilities. But one thing that's kind of important, we don't see it on this map, but if there was a lot of water, a flying unit... Oh, backseat gaming, okay. If there was like water, the flying units would be able to cross it, the land units wouldn't be. I know that's kind of like self-evident, but like if you want to scout a sector out, that's where the scout, like with flying, is going to really come into play. Our hero here, though, does not... Oh, she's in an APC, so they changed her from the tutorial. Interesting. So she's using a little vehicle. It's still land-based, though. But what's her deal? So she's got a mounted cannon. She's got a repair drone. Interesting. So she's got some support capabilities. A grenade, tactical scanners, defense mode, psionic resistance, stagger resistance. Again, weakness to arc. Large target, so 50% easier to hit with ranged attacks. Okay. And then resurgence. Alright, interesting. Alright, so that's enough of like our introduction here. Let's go ahead and get into like what we want to do here. So we do have an objective right here, which is going to be the locate capitals, I guess. We also have baddies right here, and we've got an Imperial production stockpile. So this is like something we can get up. It's like, kind of like a goodie hut, right, in your civilization. There's another one over here. So we would want to pick those up eventually. As far as our movement goes, you can kind of see a grid of the extent of our movement. So it's going to take us some time to get over here. So let's think about like where we want to go. We could use both of our armies here to like get in the same combat. You have a cap of 6 units in an army, but you can have more. You can have more than the 6 be involved in the combat just by having more armies adjacent to the enemy you're fighting. And that works for your enemy as well. So one thing that we can see right away, okay, if we look around, this is a an NPC faction because they don't have the skull. I don't know what NPC faction they are at the moment. NPC army of Paragon faction. Okay, so that's the faction, right? This is just a marauder, so there's no faction type. So fighting them doesn't really affect our relationships with an NPC faction at all. Same thing true is here. We've got that semi-NPC faction over here, and we know that just by looking at the symbol. Each NPC faction will have their own symbol, so we can know what faction they're part of pretty quickly and easily. We have them over here as well. So they're kind of all around us. I kind of feel like we should go over here first. So let me grab my main combat unit. It's going to take us more than a turn to get there. We have a river to cross, which is going to cost us a lot of action points to get across. You can see the action point cost as we hover over. So it costs us 16 to cross there, whereas opposed to this mountain only costs us 12. So rivers cost a lot to get across. Now, we will, as we gain in sectors and stuff, we will build roads and bridges and stuff, which will aid us in moving across this terrain. But for the meantime, it's going to be kind of pricey to do so. Okay, and these are just telling us that there's unidentified forces. These could either be marauders, and the marauders will move around on the map. So as much as there's a marauder just sitting here on this cache, and they'll probably not move. There will be these armies that can move around, and they can actually come in and attack your colony too. So you do have to be kind of like mindful and ready for that. Yeah, there's a lot of... Now, they could just be more of these guys, but they could be like roaming marauders, so we have to be careful. I think like the quickest path here might just be move here, and then we go over the mountain and move in there, and then we'll see about going into this area. We've got 3 turns before we can expand anywhere. So we'll go ahead and just start... Oops, I didn't mean to click on that. Just start moving around. Kind of a lot of open space over here, so I figure... Let's look around a little bit on our map. So we've got one objective over here, which is the search for survivors. And then the other one's far over here. Let's go ahead and have the scout start moving over to this, right? But we're going to go around these mountains, so we're going to kind of take a path over this way. Okay. And that is pretty much it for our first turn. So we went real slow there to kind of explain stuff. We'll go faster from here on out. We're going to have a whole bunch of things to do, though, on this next turn, because now we have our tech trees. So the first one's going to be our military. The next one's going to be our society tree. And as I explained earlier... You research these simultaneously, and they don't affect each other. So your knowledge pool here, it goes into both tech trees evenly. All right, so we've got a bunch of tech things to pick from. Some of these are going to be based off of our race, and some of these are going to be based off of what our thing is. So we had void tech, so we have the void tech tree. We are Vanguard, so we have the Vanguard tree. But we also have laser and firearms based off of our race as well. Now, it's recommending I do nanite support, but let's go over our 3 choices and go over what they would give me. So first, we have nanite support. This will give me nanite injectors. This is a mod that you can put on your units, and it's more or less like a medical kit. It's a one-use item that will give them some health back, and I think it has another benefit. Increases its resistance to all damage channels for by 3 for 2 turns. So it gives you a little bit of a buff, or damage resistance buff, and gives you some armor, and it heals you. So, yeah, that's a one-use item. It's pretty useful. Then we get a couple operations. One's a tactical, one is a... oh, no, they're both tactical operations. So, these you're going to be using in combat. So, nanite support, what does it do? It puts in a blur field, which gives obscured to all adjacent units. In addition, the station heals all adjacent friendly units by 10 at the start of each turn. The nanite support station is destroyable. So, which more or less puts a beacon out there on the map, and if the enemy is able to get to it and destroy it, it will go away. Otherwise, it stays on the map, and any units that are nearby are harder to hit, and on top of that, get healed. So it's pretty powerful and pretty nice. We have Combat Assist System. Sends a drone to assist target unit. The drone purges any negative effects and provides 2, whatever that is, while it is active, for up to 3 turns. So you got a cleanse, you've got a heal, and you've got a another kind of like passive heal and cover. So yeah, a lot of good things for combat. We've got firearms. We get an ammunition type, so this is another mod you can put on your units. Allows the unit to fire flechette ammunition, which has an 8 chance to inflict bleeding on cyborg and biological units for 3 turns. Only one type of ammunition can be used at any time. So once we pick this mod, this ammunition mod, we can't use another one unless we replace this one. That's what it sounds like, Ursi. And then we have the Shredder Bomb. So this is a tactical operation. More or less drops a bomb on an area and does 12 damage in a 1 hex radius of effect, and has a chance to apply bleeding to biological and cyborg units. So you get some, like, shredding damage here. You have phase manipulation. So phase walk modulator. So this is another mod. It's a defensive mod. Units gain phase field. The unit is able to walk through obstacles and is 20% harder to hit in combat. Additionally, this mod grants the unit +1, whatever that is. It could be movement. I'm not 100% sure on that. This mod can only be applied to infantry and mounted units. And then finally, reactive phase protection. This is an operation again. Target unit receives reactive phase defense for 3 turns. Each time the unit takes damage, it is teleported to a random hex within 2 hexes of their original position. This is kind of weird, and I'm not sure how useful. Very situational, probably. I kind of agree. This is a pretty useful one, especially as it will open up like a lot of our units. So we've got an engineer unit here that we'll get, as well as a combat shotgun. We've got improved combat sensors, and interlocking armor. So these are things that we will do through our race, and we'll get a lot of our units by going through this tree. We also have the laser tree, which I really didn't talk about. We could research that right now because there's no prerequisite to it. Otherwise, you've got the prerequisites along the tree here that you kind of like have to follow along. So this, we get the incinerator module, which is going to upgrade laser weapons to have extra chance to set a target on fire. And then we have a laser strike, which is just a big damage on 1 unit effect. And this is a tactical operation. I still think nanite support is the one. Yeah, exactly, Ursi. It is like a hero spell. So we're just going to research that. It'll take 4 turns to complete. Okay, we're now going to move on to our society research. So this is going to be stuff that helps us, building buildings. It will unlock buildings. It will give us some doctrines. It will give us possibly some strategic operations and what have you. So this one is a doctrine. You can either get 15 food production, or you can get extra production. I'm sorry, a production cost reduction for building units. And then you have this, which is a colony upgrade, which gives 2 experience to units that are sitting on the colony that has it attached. So if they just sit there, they will progressively gain experience. We have aquatic deployment, so there's a bunch of things here. Empire upgrade unlocks the ability to build bases on water and coastal sectors. Sea transport allows units to embark into a transport across the water. And then we have river crossing expertise. This unit has been trained in crossing rivers and does so at a greatly reduced movement point cost. And then that will feed into this stuff here. We have frontier facilities. This is pretty important. We should definitely do this one, but we'll go over all the options here. The colony gains 2 happiness slots and +4 happiness income. And this is a colony upgrade, so this is a building that you build. Standard military infrastructure upgrades the colony militia army to include more powerful units. And then we have colonizer. This is pretty much your settler. This is what's going to build us more colonies. So that's why it's pretty important to do this one. Finally, we have area surveillance. So we've got a strategic operation. A monitoring station appears on the targeted hex. The station provides the deploying player with vision for 6 hexes and a sensor coverage for 12 hexes. The station is concealed and can only be detected by other players with detection, or if they move adjacent to it. Monitoring stations are not marked as belonging to a particular player and can be destroyed by other players without triggering a war. Hey there, Kawaii Gamer. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Hopefully I did. So we've got native threat locator reveals the location of the nearest unexplored hostile spawner to the target colony. And then we finally have capability ranking. Unlocks capability rankings shown in the Empire task interface. Capabilities visible for your Empire and its allies. So yeah, so we got a lot of surveillance things. Pretty self-evident, and like that. This one sounds pretty cool. And these are all strategic operations, I believe. Oh no, player operation. I'm not exactly sure how that works. Yeah, that's a building though. All right, so we're gonna do this because it's pretty important. There we go. So both of these are gonna take 4 turns. They're pretty much gonna take the same amount of time. Alrighty, so we have done that. Now we just have to order our dudes around. So we do want the combat here. So we're gonna come over and fight these guys and get into our first combat. There's only 3 of them. Let's go ahead and take a look at what they are.
One-time collectibles that provide resources or other rewards.
Apparently I still have the tutorial on. My apologies. So these are the guys that we're going to be facing off. It's the same unit type. We've got the Quartzite Liquid Flame. I'm not sure if it does, Ursi. I'm going to assume we start over from the beginning with each of the tech. I've only played the game about 4 hours, so I would say like the big thing that I draw from this is if you are familiar with the previous Age of Wonders games, Age of Wonders 3 being the one that I've played, it's very similar. So you should be able to jump into it, and that's also going to give you, like if you played that game before, give you a rough idea of whether or not you're going to like this type of game, because it plays similarly. There is going to be some differences, but I'd say they're minor. And for our race in particular, which we'll see once we get into combat, we'll see that we're very much range focused, and you have the Overwatch ability, which I don't believe existed in previous game. I could be misremembering that, though. All right, let's go ahead and get involved in this combat so you guys can see. We should have the advantage here. Oh, we have a little bit of a campaigns thing. Looks like our little robot friend has found himself some company. Though, wait a second. Aren't these road sweeper units patrolling the streets? They may not be an expert on maintenance robots, but the last time I checked, they didn't require any laser guns to do their cleanup. Troop hygiene must have really dropped since we've left. Okay, then. Good one, Commander. Though I doubt this place has seen any visitors. That would have appreciated a clean walkway in quite a while. It looks completely deserted. Agreed. Either way, I suggest we interrupt this particular mopping up before your little pet gets blown into pieces.
Objective completed.
Oh. So we just got our reward here. Now, you can always sell your rewards, but I figure we keep these because it will speed up our research and our production, so why not? Okay, so we now have a new quest. We have to save Tapples. Rescue Tapples before it gets attacked by the maintenance droids. Some landmarks need to be entered to fight its defenders. Move your army onto the structure to be able to enter it. So we get our pug if we're able to complete this. Oh yeah, Leo, I don't know. I've only put 4 hours into the game. We'll find out. We'll find out as we play here. We've got a research reward, and then we've got some cosmite, which we actually really want. Once we can start getting mods, it's going to get really expensive. So more of this that we can get. Right now we're producing 5 a turn. The more than we can get of that, the better, because you can run out of this real fast. All right, let's go ahead and defeat this guy and get whatever the stockpile is. So just these 3 units, and I didn't go over what they have, but they have some ranged abilities. So they've got Magma Spit. This is going to burn our units. It's got a range of 5, which is under what our infantry has. And then he has Flame Jet. So Magma Spit spits a ball of molten rock at the target affected by line of sight rules. Flame Jet shoots intense flames in a 2-hex cone. It's going to strength chance to apply burning and to non-ethereal, non-mineral targets for 3 turns. It has a cooldown of 2 turns, but it's very short ranged. So if we can stay away from this guy, it'll be hard for these guys to use that on us. We've got arc resistance, thermal resistance, which makes sense because it seems like it's very thermal based. But biochemical weakness. We don't have any biochemical weapons, so this doesn't really play into anything we have. Damage over time immunity. This unit cannot be affected by damage over time status effects. Okay, so bleeding, that kind of stuff won't happen. And thermal status effect immunity, so it can't be burned. Okay. It's an animal. It has land movement, lava walking, so this unit is able to walk over lava. Okay, again, makes sense with what it is. It's a light unit. It's mineral based. Okay. And a skirmisher. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea what the combat units we're going to be facing. We all have the same thing. So, you can negotiate if they're an NPC, but these are just marauders, so we kill them. Yeah, we're going to try and nuke them. There's a lot of bug-based aliens, and there's like these elemental, like, based ones. So these are the fire ones. There's also electricity based ones and what have you. And then there's kind of like more generic grasshopper types. Alright, so for those of you that have played Age of Wonders 3, you'll be somewhat familiar with this interface here. So this gives you kind of an indicator of how many action points it would cost you to move around. So green, I think, pretty much costs you nothing. This would cost you 1 to move. This would cost you 2. This would cost you your full 3. Everybody has 3 action points. So if we move all the way up here, we have no action points to spare. A lot of our abilities will cost us a set number of action points, which they will indicate to you on the ability. So, oh, okay, it says repeating. If it, see, I didn't see. There you go. So this isn't a repeating attack, which means it costs 1 action point to use, but if you have extra action points, you'll get multiple attacks. Whereas this ability just says single action, so it will only need 1 action point, but it only does 1 attack. And whenever you do an action, it immediately ends your turn. So even if I had extra action points, I can't shoot, then move. So whatever I do here, we're done with. Alrighty. So as far as I see, we've got a whole bunch of cover here. Pretty congested in this area. These are exploding barrels, so if we can get a shot on this, it will blow up and do damage in the area. I think these things will blow up as well, like they're like little fuel containers. So there's destructible terrain that we may be able to use strategically. I don't know if we'll be able to do that this turn, though. Especially with line of sight. This kind of blocks a lot of our line of sight here. I think we just take a defensive position here and go into Overwatch. So I'm going to move this guy over here into cover. We're going to Overwatch. Facing really matters because there is flanking and stuff. But with the Overwatch, we get to pick what our facing is. So we get to pick where we want to focus the Overwatch. Let's put it there. But you can, like, rotate your guys with this command here if you need to. And when you do that, you just pick which facing you want. Alrighty. I would assume the explosion would hurt them, but they probably wouldn't get caught on fire or whatever. So we have to be mindful of that. There's also different types of cover. So if we go here, that's like half cover. This is, there's probably elements like, I see this full tree is full cover. But keep in mind with the full cover that it will block your, like, I don't know if you saw the Overwatch and the area it was going to affect. All these things kind of like blocked a little bit of our vision. So if a guy was like right here, it would be out of our even if it was within the cone, it'd be out of our vision because this blocks. Maybe I should put this guy over here, because we'll put this guy here and that guy there. Spread them out a little bit. The AI is really good about... See, look how bad my vision is right here. So Overwatch is kind of crummy in our positioning, but... Move this guy up here. Your own units will block your movement, so just keep that in mind as you're moving around. To not block your guys in. Put that there. That there. And I think how many action points you have when you go into Overwatch does matter. I could be wrong on that, though. Okay. And then let's put our commander over here, maybe. We'll have him Overwatch as well. Like so. Now, our vehicle here cannot Overwatch. And we have to keep in mind getting flanked on this unit reduces his armor pretty dramatically. This unit is meant to be a high mobility flanker, so we're going to use that correspondingly. So these guys are kind of like be in a nice defensive position. But we're going to move our vehicle in a way that we maybe can get a flank. And then we're going to rotate so we don't get flanked, because again, we get reduced armor if that happens. Okay, that's more or less our turn. Let's go ahead and end. Alright. So the enemy is being really defensive here. They're not really moving forward, but they did kind of isolate themselves over here, so maybe we can take advantage of that. If we get close enough, we could chuck a grenade at them and try and take that cover away. I don't think we'll be able to pull that off, though. Oh, also, you get an indicator of when you can start hitting an enemy. So you see, as we move up, there's like this little cross that happens on the enemy. It will also give you an idea of whether it's a straight-on shot, like here, with the red, or a flank shot with the yellow. So you get a lot of heads-up information on whether or not you can do something. The problem that we have is that it's going to be hard to move up and attack this guy and stay within cover. Yeah, the cover is kind of like hurting us here because we have like a lot of open space over here. We do have the numbers advantage, so we could do that as well. I'm tempted to move up here and just like shoot at this flanked position, because that'd be a pretty good position for us. We would not be in cover though, but I don't know if there's a way I can really attack him and be in cover at the same time. So we're going to take a little bit of the risk and just use our numbers to best advantage here. All right, so we got a 40% chance to hit him. And we get 2 attacks because we have 2 action points, and this is a repeating weapon. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we hit once. And we missed once. I'd say that's fairly good. Alright. We're going to get another attack with this guy. Now, we don't want to put our guys together, because if this guy can move up and hit us with that area effect, it'd really hurt. So, let's move here. We'd only get 1 attack if we do that, but I figure maybe we can finish this guy off if we do like a really bad chance to hit. Alright. Let's have you move up. I may be making like kind of wrong calls here, but from what I've seen of the AI, they don't want to move into your... if you really hunker down and be defensive and you just put a bunch of attack... I'm not thinking of the word here. Overwatch. If you put a bunch of Overwatches up, they won't run into that. So... Alright, we got a graze hit. That can happen. It's better than a miss, obviously, but it's not a full-on hit. So you have more or less 3 outcomes that can happen with any attack. You can get a full-on hit, which does full damage. You can get a graze, which does like half damage. And you can get a miss, which does nothing. Now, misses can't hit things around, so we could destroy the train and stuff, depending on the weapons that we're using. I apparently cannot move my bike into a position to really hit this guy. I think this area effect attack goes 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I mean, the AI just doesn't walk into you. Like, they behave a little bit intelligently and, like, how they behave, which is, you know, that's for a fairly decent AI. I'm gonna see what we can do here. We can always change our move later. It's saying no line of sight. I want to see if we'll chop down the trees, though. Maybe we will. But I have a feeling it's not gonna hit this guy. Maybe we just move instead. Continue moving. So, I'm gonna move to continue to flank. But we're going to want to orient ourselves so that we ourselves don't get flanked, because again, we have reduced armor, so... Alrighty. So kind of like an impotent attack at the moment, but it is what it is. I think we move up here and you just use these guys to overwatch. I just don't know how strong of an overwatch I'm going to be able to pull off. I'm gonna go here. Then we're gonna overwatch. I mean, this is probably better than that, right? So we'll go with that. And then... this guy really can't get into a good position because of the... oh yeah, thanks for the follow as well. Let's go ahead and move up here. We'll try and be a little safer with these guys so we don't just get annihilated here. Again, I think this is the wiser move. And then we just hit skip here. And then we can end turn. So we'll take damage here for sure. Here comes an attack. Oh, that was the cone attack. It only hit the one guy though, so that's okay. Now they'll probably focus damage here. We may lose this unit. There's our overwatch though. Unfortunately, not all that effective. In the grand scheme of things, that wasn't all that bad. So, let's see if we can move our assault bike into a position to actually do something this turn. Like really? Oh, they're here. We can attack there. That's pretty much as good as it gets for this unit. So, unless we blow up some terrain, which we may do. So let's hold off for a second. We'll probably kill here. Yeah, let's just stick here. So that's one unit down.
Enemy annihilated.
Yeah, I am being careful, but these are like important. They're going to be possibly important skills for later. We're going to move this guy back into cover and then set them up to overwatch. Now, if we had the nanite thing, we would use it now to heal ourselves. Just to show like what a grenade can do here. Oh, what is the range on that? 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we need to move up to at least here. 1, 2. Yeah, okay. No, it's quite possible I would just kill the alien if I attacked it at this point. You know what? Screw it. We'll just attack. Okay. And attack. If we land this, it will be a death. Unfortunately, we missed. Now, if we had knocked out that train there, it probably would have been a kill there. We're already in a good position. We'll get a lot of attacks off, so why not? Okay.
Enemy destroyed.
So just one bad guy left. I figure we move out of cover here. And then we just overwatch. That way, if it tries to move up, maybe we catch it. Although it's unlikely, because it's kind of out of our range. Alright, that was it for that turn. We're taking a little burning damage there, but this is about to be over. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they do, but I just wanted to, like, kind of demonstrate to you guys how the combat worked. You know what? Let's get nice and close and use our one special attack.
Enemy killed.
And there we have it.
They never stood a chance.
Alright, earn 2 experience, earn 2 experience, earn 2 it looks like it's on a combat basis rather than actually doing damage, would be my guess. Because units that got kills got no extra experience. Like this unit we know got a kill, no extra experience. So I hope that answers that question. The screen shake. You know what? We might want to look into that. Oh, we get to pick a thing as a reward. Specialized training. This is going to allow us to build the pugs, or we could build the assault bikes. I figure we build the pugs because this is a great support unit. And we got to do it for pugs, so we're just going to get this. It seems like just a free building, more or less. So now we can build these if we so choose. We also seemingly finished the one building we were doing. So the only other thing we could build here is the military skirmisher barracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and build myself a pug just so we can get that. Now it's pretty expensive, as you can see here. The energy cost, the turn amount that it takes to produce. As far as our colonists, though, we'll have growth in 2 turns. So we want to have... we actually want to do production that only takes 2 turns. So I'm actually going to do this instead. Although we could do, like, the owls to, like, get more scouts. Or we could do more infantry as well. But I figure, why don't we just get our buildings done here? Although, even the claiming of a sector takes a turn. You know what? I'm changing my mind. Yeah, it takes time for even the claiming of the sector, so we might as well do this. Okay. So you are all done. Now, it will take time for this unit to heal, so we do have to count for that. Okay, we do have our scout over here now to move. Let's see if we can move around this way. Ooh, there's a little goodie thing here. Oh, another one there. So I guess we'll move here, and then next turn we'll get that. Our scouts actually do have extra movement here, so being with her does, like, slow them down. Because they probably don't pay the terrain cost. So we could, if we really wanted to, separate those guys out and get this thing. So we found some salvageable stuff, which gives us some extra production. Okay, cool. And we'll just move them back. There, now they're together. Alrighty, that's it for our turn. Let's just end turn now. Okay. So you can see kind of like a rough idea how much this guy healed. Now we don't know if we're going to have a combat here or not. But we may have one, so we have to be kind of... Well, we know we're going to have one because it told us we were going to have one. We get a free pug if we finish this quest, but I would like another one for another army, maybe. Anyway, it's too late now. Alrighty, let's do that. What is this? Oh. We actually want that, because that would give us full health. Cool. Let's go ahead and then move in. That actually was really helpful and probably designed that way on purpose. Alright, so we got a spaceport, which is a landmark. Various sectors will have landmarks, so when you claim a sector that has a landmark in here, it's going to give you a lot of resources when you annex that sector. So this is pretty important for us to get the spaceport. Oh, and if we have a colony here, we get a spaceship maintenance bay as well. Probably this would be the area we'd want to colonize, which is why we're getting a colony thing anyway. Alright, let's enter. Alright, so what do we got? We've got an automaton? Or autonom? Sorry, autonom. It's got a defense laser, which is repeating. So it's a thing with friendly mechanical units. Plus 10% accuracy, and plus 2, whatever that is, resistance. Oh yeah, shock resistance. Units attacks, gain 1 level of stagger impact. So it's like a buff. Healing. So this is like a support thing. Alright. And a scout. We've got this thing. So it's a melee attack. Forcefully applied contact explosive is highly efficient method of crowd control. That doesn't sound like it feels very good. It is repeating as well. Melee bypasses all whatever that is. Maybe shields? I don't know what that symbol means just yet. Only affects ground targets. Then we have bomb. The body originating mass blast hits all adjacent units, dealing explosive damage. Ideal for when you don't have the time to face everybody, because that one's called face. Oh, the puns. Alright, so high impact stagger units, reducing action points and canceling defensive modes. 3% additional damage to obstacles, can destroy fortified obstacles. Only affects ground targets, cooldown 2 turns. And it has defense mode that it can do where it gets extra armor as well. Okay. Also has stagger resistance due to its size. So this guy we don't want to have anywhere near us because it's got a lot of damage at close in. So good to know. Then we've got a sentinel. Oh, so wait. Is that the type? And then this is a monitor. Oh. Well, see, the range is the little thing there. So it's a range of 0. So he does it around himself. So this is close in, and this is close in. So if we stay away from him, he won't be able to hit us. All right. So we got a sentinel, range of 7, which is about the same as our infantry. So okay, repeating laser. Raise this unit's accuracy and critical hit chance by 10%. All network units can gain this effect. And then there was the monitor that could do the networking, I think, if I remember correctly. And then it's got a defense mode, pretty typical. All-around awareness, all that kind of stuff. All right. Let's do our manual combat. So the big thing is that big guy we want to stay away from. Alrighty. So I just did it. It's networking buff. Then I just gave it enhanced targeting to all the people in the network. So the robots kind of like have this, a lot of this, like buff synergy. Okay, so we've got like a crashed ship or something here, or a vehicle of some kind. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to click on this guy, see how far he can move. So as long as we don't move further than here and here, we're fine. Which we can't even move up that far, even if I wanted to. So if I move here, I can get a flank attack on him, which I figure we do. Alternatively, I just do a Overwatch and have him come to me. But we're already getting a flank attack. So I figure why not move up aggressively here? We could always run away later if he gets too close to us. Okay, so he's got good armor, which is going to make it tough to take him down. All right. I don't really want to use this for cover because it might blow up in my face. Although if I move here, I get an attack off. Although my infantry can do the same thing. Let's spread out a little bit, though. So I'm going to have this guy come over here. And then we'll put an Overwatch out. There. Yeah, that looks good. Have you move up. We wouldn't be able to get an attack off if I moved you there. Yeah, you here. And then Overwatch. We'll do it like that. If the robot here goes over this way, it will be more out in the open, perhaps. So, you move up to here. I'm kind of thinking the same thinking here, rather than cover over there, cover over here, and then. Let's have the bike come over here to assist. We'll have it face that way. I'll take a more aggressive move with our own guy. We'll probably get shot here, but oh well. Oh, we missed. Okay, that should be everything. End turn. Okay. This guy repaired him, so the damage we did kind of went away. We're gonna get our Overwatch attack. Okay. So we're gonna want to back off a bit here and like get outside the range of this thing. So if I move to... Oh, I couldn't see him if I moved there? Ah. Like, I think my, like, the best strategy to deal with this guy is just move outside his range continuously. So, it seems like if we move there, we're okay. I'm gonna make sure that we're okay, though, because, like, we could be blocking, like, his movement to a certain extent. Looks like we can attack him if we move to here, and it would be a flank, so... Yeah, we're gonna take our time with this engagement. Alright, let's double check where he can move. Okay, so we're clear here. So we know we can do this attack. Only a 20% chance to hit, though. So just making sure, if I move to here, he could probably catch up to me. Yeah, he sure can. Let's just move over to here, which I assume he won't be able to catch up to me. This guy Overwatch, so pushing up wouldn't even make sense, right? So, we gotta be careful. So yeah, he can't get to me. We're just... Alright. You get over here, you sure can. Let's move over there, which won't take any action points to do. Okay, he can't get to us, so... We'll start with this attack. I'm hoping to shred the train if, consistently miss, but the support drone can only repair him by 5 each turn, so we're gonna overwhelm him with damage eventually. Alright. It's gonna be tough to use the assault bike here. I figure we keep trying to flank here. Maybe we can get in on this guy and destroy him. I don't know how many hit points he has. Probably low. He has 30 hit points and only 1 armor. So I figure maybe we can do that and get high damage output. Rotate to face that way. Okay. What was that? The game just cheated, man. You see that cheating? Other hero? No, nothing done there. Alright, at this point, I figure we just go, like, wholesale on this guy and just try and take him out. I just want to see what my chances to hit here are. In theory, these two guys working together will be able to take this guy out.
Enemy eliminated.
Alright, I'm tempted to attack this thing and blow it up and, like, see if we can get at the terrain there. This guy has no line of sight, so it makes more sense to go for this. Okay, that didn't quite work how I wanted it to. Alright. As far as I understand, you just get it from a combat basis. Like, in that last combat, I only gained 2 experience. And every unit only gained 2 experience. So it doesn't really matter if they do damage or get kills. It just, whether or not they're in a combat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that should be in range. Let's see if we can finish up the truck. Boom! Okay, now the guy's got no terrain. We can only hit this guy, so let's hit him. Alright. Let's, I think we can move aggressively here. So we'll move up here. We should have a good flank next turn. Alright, that's pretty much everything. Yeah, we moved everybody at this point. Ouch. Pretty heavy damage there. Now, can I use this on air targets? Doesn't say I can't. Alright. Let's take care of these guys first. I guess we just fire directly into them. Get revenge. Yeah, that takes that
Enemy
out.
killed.
You can move up here and help out with this fight. All right. Now let's get the revenge. So we're gonna move up. Because this guy only gets one attack regardless, so that would do that much damage. That would do that much damage. It doesn't seemingly... Yeah, it seems like this is actually the better attack. Oh, only a graze. That's unfortunate. I want to maximize how many action points we're going to be using here, so we'll move to here. And down they go.
Enemy annihilated.
So far, these are easy combats, though.
They never stood a chance.
Bleep, bleep! The robot euphorically jumps from Dayu Zhang to Jack Gelder, slewing its antenna in excitement. Come here, Tapples. Now there's a good boy. Though you have to promise to never run away like that again. Just look what you got all of us into. Looking around may actually be worthwhile on this occasion, Lieutenant. Do you remember how all the ships here have been polished and flagged for our launch day? Now they look as if they belonged into a museum or the deconstruction hangars on Gardip 20. Almost makes me feel like a living ghost. Well, it has been 200 years, my friend. You expect these ships to still be in the same glistening condition they were in when you left? Alrighty. So that's one quest down. Alright, so we get exoskeleton systems, and we've got this. So we're going to take our reward.
Objective completed.
Which also gives us this, and all these other things. Okay. So we do have we got the nano ejectors this turn. So what does this do? We get some armor. Alright. Looks like it's free to do, so, and then we'll also give you an nano ejector so you can heal yourself. This will cost us 8 cosmite and 16 energy. Then we just say confirm loadout, and you do that. We're also going to give all of our infantry the nano injectors, which is going to cost 5 apiece and 5 cosmite apiece and 10 energy. And this is where you start to really eat up the cosmite. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mod all equivalent units. So every unit that is like this unit is also going to get modded, which is just the ones that we currently have in this army, because that's all we have as far as this infantry. We're going to go ahead and do that. Now we're going to you more or less build a template, right? And from here on out, you when you produce a unit, you could build the template instead. So I'm just going to go with whatever the name is, but you can name it whatever you want. We confirm there's also symbols you can do to like try and remember what they are, but that's fine. So these guys are all going to be modded, which will take a turn, and while that turn is still going on, they're going to be somewhat vulnerable, but in the next turn they'll be fine. And if we go back over here, now we have 2 pugs. I'm probably gonna send like one over this way to like link up with the rest of the army. And we might even send one of our infantry somewhere else. And this one we'll just have sit here until we build another army. Okay, so that's pretty much this unit all done. So we're one away from getting this objective, I think. Well, we also have to get 5 tactical operations, though, to complete it. And then we got that.
Production ready.
Okay. So now we have to decide what we want to produce. This should be the turn where we can... Oh, it's 1 turn away from growth. All right. So we have to decide where we're going to expand sector-wise. But I think we build... Oh, we don't have enough Cosmite. Oh, no. I should have held off on that, huh? But as you can see, this is our template. So we need to save our Cosmite. That was actually an oversight. I didn't think about that. All right. It's fine. We'll be fine. I guess I'll just build a recreational dump instead. So we're going to be a little slowed down because of that mistake, but it's all right. All right, so next turn we'll have a sector that we want to move into. So we have to decide which sector we want. So from these, we can get production or energy, right? Yeah, energy. Production or energy, and then food. So these things don't really synergize as well, because when you do in a sector, you get to pick how you're going to exploit that sector, and you only get to pick one thing. So really, production or energy would be the best way to go there, but the river doesn't really help us, right? Whereas over here... Oh, thank you, Richard, for the follow. Over here, it's more or less the same thing. So we've got mountain arid. Over here, ruins and arid. So this one would be energy because it synergizes well. We have the peaks here, which is uninhabitable and mountain, so that's not a good sector for us. Honestly, I think this is the best sector to expand into, unless we expand into this sector, which I don't see where the sector here, where its main area is, so we probably have to scout it a little bit more. Oh, you know what? No, there's a colony here, so it's this faction's colony, so yeah, we can't expand there. So yeah, really, we just have to choose one of these. It's either here, here, or here. So I think Harvest Mountains is the one that makes the most sense, because it has the most things. Okay, so what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to move an army over there to claim it. Matter of fact, we can move the pug over there next turn if we don't get another army over there. So it's not gonna be hard. All right, let's continue to explore. Wasn't there a little... Oh, we might have already gotten it. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Okay. So we just got some more production. That's always good to have. Yeah, so this is already claimed. It's not like really obvious here, but this is No, wait, this is a building. Where is the center of this? Usually, okay, so like that's an example here, right? Maybe the center of the sector is on that. Sometimes the center of the sector is a different place. Like, I wish I had a good example of that. Oh yeah, like here. So like you have like a couple structures here, and then here is the actual sector. So you got locations, 2 locations. It looks like the center is at the same point though. Like the center of the sector. Yeah, that, okay. So we have those things. And there we'd want production, for sure. So this is a really attractive one to expand into. The problem is we'd have to kill the NPC faction here, which would more or less anger them. So that's probably going to be a little bit more of a long-term goal. Alrighty, that's pretty much it outside of our research. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we got this. We can continue forward with this tree, or we could do a different tree. The question is, do we want the engineer unit and the shotgun and this other stuff? I think we go with like the subjugation ordinance, perhaps, so we can get like some way to do damage in the tactical operations or something like that. We could also use the flechette ammunition to kill biologicals. Ooh. So that's a way to apply the shock damage so that we could go after cyborg and mechanical units. Interesting. Here's script. More combat units. Research. So the engineer. Oh, I wanted to give you guys an idea what it was. Okay, so engineer comes with shotgun. It can place a turret. It can repair. It can do some buffy type things. So pretty good unit. Moving on, we're gonna do the research here. So we can increase our sector development and all that stuff, or we can go with the surveillance or a lot of other things here. I really haven't played this game enough to know like what the best strategies are. I think aquatic deployment doesn't really make sense for us because there's not really much water on this planet. It's an arid planet. But we can do all of these other things. So it looks like production and energy development makes a lot more sense. We don't really have a lot of synergy with these two. I feel like I want to lean towards the production probably. So let's go with this tech. And then we'll expand into this sector, Harvest Mountains, and we'll focus on that production capacity. And then we might want to set up a colony here if we can. Which I think we can. It sounded like we could. So I'll probably take my army down here and start like knocking out some of this stuff. Or we'll take it up here and try and knock these guys out. But I think that's more a long-term idea, and we'll try and be a peaceful coexistence.
Quantum-powered molecular machines are not magic, they're science. But the uncertainty principle dictates that if I explain to you exactly how it works, it'll stop working that way. So just trust me. It's not magic, it's just probabilistic, quantum state-driven subatomic machines.
I forgot you
Stanley Strangelove.
I forgot you...
Publicist, Small Tech Enterprises.
I forgot you got the Civ-like quotes when you got the research. So we do want to like click on these.
Our colonies require the means to protect themselves and a reason to stay. At the very least, it's time to invest in some good old-fashioned guns and beer.
Guns and
Dollar
beer.
Smith, Deneb Colony Mayor.
I love the way that he says that. All right. Orders required. We're just going to tell these guys to guard for now, but we'll probably send them along. And then... and turn. Oh, okay, here we go. Empire troopers, stop, or hold it right there, filthy renegades. Return to your hovels immediately, and we won't have to put you down like dogs. Okay, so they're not mad. They're mad at us for being in their territory. What is this madness, soldier? Is that how the returning crew of a sleeper mission is welcomed home these days? Step aside. Let me talk to your superiors. A sleeper mission? Impossible. There are no other ships arriving from the void. Don't lie to me. Ruby Squad, Emerald Squad, Sapphire Squad, you're all madmen. You know what? We'll let you speak with the prefect. He'll show you how we deal with traitors. Uh-oh. It's hard to believe these wretched creatures were once proud Star Union citizens. I always felt the Paragon were going too far with their cybernetic enhancements, but this? Are they even still human? And what about calling us renegades? Have their brains gone rotten as well? Or is there something more to this? Time to talk to their prefect. Vanguard Central Command will know what is going on. In the meantime, we should keep our eyes open for the commanders of the Ruby, Emerald, and Sapphire Squad they mentioned. They could be trouble.
Objective completed.
Oh, so, okay, so we met this faction, which gives us some influence. Find the Vanguard squad leaders. Okay. Okay, appease the Paragon. Prove your good intentions to the Paragon and reach a peaceful relation with them. Okay, so it does kind of want us not to kill them. To increase the relation with an NPC faction, interact with their armies to receive quests or access their dwelling and the strategic map to make purchases within their faction's dwelling shop. Okay. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to move up to them, right-click on them, and then say negotiate, rather than obviously fight them. Alrighty. So we've got them. They should show up on the diplomacy screen now, I think. Yeah, here we are. So we're neutral to them right now. This is our current relations. This is at 10 points. I think if you click on them, you can see like kind of like the different steps. So you have war, neutral, peace. So this is where we need to get for our quest, friendship, integration. Looks like this is their dwelling here. We've got trade. So this is where we can spend a lot of our influence points. So we can buy units from them, soldier, guard, so on and so forth. We also have different mods and things that we can buy from them. And so on. So there's a whole lot of stuff we can do here with that the influence points that we have. And then we've got their sector, if we want to look at that. So, yeah, okay. So their dwelling's not far from us, so we can interact with them fairly easily. Do I just click there?
This location belongs to an NPC faction who may provide you with quests and make demands of you. Appeasing an NPC faction leads to diplomatic benefits, such as the ability to purchase their units and being able to call the faction to war as allies.
Okay. So let's see what we can do with them. Let's discuss trade. All right, so we can kill them if we want, or that would fail our quest. So this would ask them for a quest, which we kind of want to do because this is one way to improve the relationship. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. The Imperial Guard is crumbling. The plebeians have given in to their savage nature. Help us maintain order within our last bulwark of civilization. We have to kill these 4 units. We're going to go ahead and say accept, but we also get rewards. So we get a little bit of relationship with them, we get some influence, and we get some energy. So that is definitely good for us. And thankfully, this objective is right nearby our capital. Okay, let's see what else we can do to interact with them. So we've already done the quest. We're already on our way for that. Let us discuss trade. Oh, so this is just that screen. Okay. Post channel. Alrighty. Let us... So sometimes, yeah, this has a time limit. So we have 10 turns to do it. So we need to start moving our army, like, now. I'm curious. If I move these guys over, will they get repaired again? No, so it's a one-time use. That's what I figured, but I thought I would test it. Let's just move... Actually, yeah. Move over to the river. Then what I'm going to do... I hope these guys don't come and attack me. Hopefully they just stay there. As a precaution, I am going to have this guy come over and claim the sector. Okay, so annex sector is a province for our current capital. So we just click on that. It'll take 1 turn to do. I'm going to move this guy over into our capital. That way, we do have a militia. Oh, I own the spaceport already? I think you have to... I think you have to actually control the sector itself. Oh, no, you are right. We do own that. Interesting. I didn't know it worked that way. I've never, like, gotten one of these greater... So you see this number here? Or this little, this icon here? That indicates to you, like, how cool of a structure it is. So you see here, it's like bronze. Gold is, like, the highest level, and then there's silver in between it. So... this is a high-level structure, but I've never captured one of these before, so I didn't know that you... It sounds like you can still build a colony here, but I guess we already own it? The question is... Are we getting... Is it in our sector area? No sector's annexed. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how this works 100%, but like it had a bunch of stats and stuff, right? This landmark is an advanced production sector and provides the following when annexed. As far as I know, we haven't annexed it yet, though. But I'm not 100% sure of that. All right, well, whatever. Let's move our units around. So, I guess I'll just keep scouting here. It's possible I could use it to build stuff, but I don't know where the interface for that is. Like, as far as I can see, there's no interface for it, like to actually build units. Ah, you can make pinpoint tactical strikes with far greater speed. Yeah. So do we get a hold on. Operations.
Operations available for priming.
Oh, so we have that. We have that as a thing we can do. Interesting. So by applying this, it takes us this much energy and, you know, what have you, and it takes a turn to apply. But once we do this, all future tactical operations we do will cost less. Unlocks the following building in your colony. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's do this. That sounds good. So we prime that. It'll take a turn to do. And then let's take a look at the buildings. Yeah, I don't see a new building, but it might be something where, like, it's further along the tree. I thought I understood that, like, you had to build a colony there, but maybe I'm mistaken on that. Okay. Well, let's continue to move our units. So let's move down this way. Although there is some force here that we don't know what it is just yet. Okay. We're going to get a little bit better scouting, and then we'll figure that out. Alright. And then the only other thing we have here... we'll move this guy over here, because once you claim it, you don't have to keep him there. I'm hoping what will happen, you see the little road here? I'm hoping once we claim the sector, it will finish off the roads, so then we can just cross the river. That's why I moved the units the way I did. Okay, and then we have this guy, which we just need to tell to guard. Yeah, I did the mission yet. I did this mission. So, yeah, we're good. So right now, we have to still find the alien ship, and this gave us a new quest, so we have to explore these 3 locations. And then we have to get the NPC faction to be a peaceful relationship to us, which we're trying to do by doing this quest. Okay, my turn. Let's see if this guy moves around. Yeah, there's the road, so that's perfect. That'll help us with movement across that river. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to go into the sector production, and we need to pick a resource to exploit. Now, the resource we exploit is really dependent upon the sector. So we want to go to Harvest Mountains and just look at that. So as far as I'm concerned, production makes the most sense because we have 2 synergies with that. We could do energy instead. We could do food, but then we'd only get 1 from that. So we get plus 10 food if we were to focus on food for the sector. At least, yeah, see, that's why it's locked, because you haven't actually built the building to exploit it yet. Whereas this, all production and energy sectors on margins gain +1 level. So, I think that we should probably focus on production. Okay. So, we're going to go into the colony, do that. So it counts as being 1 level higher. So this will count as a level 2, possibly even level 3. So we'd get plus 15 income, and then plus 1 production income per population. So we may not be able to exploit this very well right now because we don't have the population, but eventually it will pay off for us very well. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll have to see if I'm doing that right, though, because before, when I did this game, the resources I was exploiting was not production. I instead was exploiting food, because the planets I was on, it was a little bit different. Like, this is an arid planet, so food isn't really going to be produced all that high in number. Alrighty. So we have that doctrine enacted. Create sector base for that. Done.
Sector annexed.
That's done. So that's going to reduce the cost of any tactical operations we do, which are, right now we only have 2, but as we do more research, we'll get more and more of those. Okay, so now we just need to order our armies. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to split off one of these units. Oops, that's not what I want to do. You want to click this. And then we could have these units work together to kill this guy as well, if we want to. Which I see no reason why not. So we're going to go ahead and move this unit here. All we have to do is get adjacent. As a matter of fact, we could really overkill this if we move this unit over as well. But I want to move over here a bit. Okay, so we got a little bit of a alien menace there, which we knew. Let's move over here. See what's all over here. Alright. Because this is one of the areas we have to scout here. But we may have a fight if we do that, so we have to be prepared for that. Alright, that's it. All we have to do for this turn. Alright, what do we got? Oh.
Happiness event in colony.
Alright, so due to the happiness of your population, there is a boost in knowledge income. The colony's knowledge income is increased by 100% this turn. Alright, that's good. So as long as you can keep your populace happy, you're going to keep getting events, which is nice. And I'm assuming if you're in the negative, you get negative effects every so often with the events. Okay, interesting. Alright, so we're still building the sector improvement here, I believe. So we can't check on that just yet. Alright, so let's get the combat done here. So I'm going to move this unit adjacent. So that's 16. That's probably a little bit less cost if we move like this. You know what, screw it, just move there. And then have you come in and fight, and then we'll have both units come in and fight the same combat. Yeah. So we got these two guys on the flank, and these guys as our main unit. So main your combat. So this is the quest that they assigned me, the NPC faction. So if we kill these units, we'll be good. I do need to check on this guy, because I've never seen this guy before. But we got two of these guys. But with that enhanced targeting, they didn't have a neural network set up because they don't have the monitor with them. So they don't have the same synergy, which is interesting how you have the synergy. Okay, so what is this thing? So it has a mounted laser, which is repeating, 7 range. It's an Imperial buggy. Can we get more information on it? We sure can. So the laser burst is very long range. Wow. Takes a full action though, so it can't move to use it. Very high damage output. Chard. 8 strength chance to apply chard to non-ethereal, non-mineral, and non-mechanical targets for 2 turns. Affected by line of sight rules, cooldown 2 turns. And then it's standard mechanical type stuff. Okay. Now our little pug here has a laser that is a single action, range of 5, it's pretty close range. It's decent damage output, but really what the pug excels at is being a support unit. So it's got Blur Cloud, which will make a unit harder to hit. It has Healing Charge, so it can heal people. And it's got a resupply charge, so if a unit has a mod that's a one-use item, this will allow it to replace that item and be used again. So, pretty cool stuff. This unit heals each biological unit in its stack for 6 health per strategic turn. So it also has a passive heal. Okay. So I feel like we have to take out the APC kind of as quickly as we can. But we also want to get some semblance of cover here. It's going to be tough to actually get in range of this thing. We also have to be mindful of not being too close to this guy. So moving to here would probably be okay. Pretty aggressive move. We may lose some units in this combat, but 20% chance, 20% chance. That's pretty crummy, huh? Let's hold on that one. We might just want to do an Overwatch instead. Move to this cover. You know, I forgot to do my stream timer. So we're about 2 hours in. Hey, Matt. I hope you've been enjoying your new keyboard. Only a 15% chance to hit. It's kind of crummy, so I feel like Overwatches might be the better move here. As my opponent gets closer, they'll get out of cover. And we'll get a shot back at them. Potentially. Here, I'm not sure if we should attack or not. I'll move my hero here. 20% chance, but we got 2 actions, so I figure we might as well do it. Oh, good hits. Okay. This guy, I think, has a high chance of being hit. The one thing I could do is I could move... I have to be within 3 to use, like, a lot of my buff things, but we could give him a blur cloud. Now, the enemy may just fixate on a different opponent, but... we kind of don't want the enemy to be able to just dogpile one unit, which they'll do because, you know, that's the right way to do a turn-based game. Okay. Then we'll apply the blur cloud to this guy. So, be obscured for a couple turns. Okay. Move you up. I think Overwatch is really the only choice we have here. I can move this guy up aggressively. We just need to make sure that this guy... yeah, okay, he can't get to me. So... 5% chance to hit. Not very high, but we'll go for it. Oh, wow, we hit it. I think we just Overwatch here as well. Okay. You... and not get to me. So if I go into this cover, we'll be okay. I don't know, we'd be lightly obscured. This is more sci-fi. I haven't really seen any fantasy elements yet. But if you've ever played Age of Wonders 3, it does play very similarly. Okay. And our pug here. Can it get over? It can get here, so we don't want to move there. Now, the pug cannot Overwatch, so... we could do a full move. Yeah, I think we just moved to here. And then we'll face like that, and we'll just be defensive here. Yeah, this thing is literally called the Pug. Vanguard Pug. This is the first time we're seeing them in combat. Alright, that's it for this turn. After this combat... so there was the Overwatch coming in after that guy fired. Okay. No surprise here, this thing's moving up.
Ready.
Standard procedure with this guy is to run away from him. So we're gonna do so. We should need to make sure that we're not moving somewhere where he can hit me. So this should be okay. I do have to worry about this guy, though, continuing to, like, attack me. Alternatively, we just go full onto him. So let's do this move later. Let's focus over here. Because if we can get the kill here, like, that works for me. So we got hit pretty hard here. Let's move up to this cover. And then we'll decide on who to attack from that. So 85% chance, 65% chance. We'll go with the 85. I just want to get rid of this APC because it's got a lot of damage output. I'm going to move up here. because it is good cover. Let's move 1, 2, 3. Let's do a heal. Ah. Hopefully you can get it back. Get our heal. But I guess that's a good sign that it's working. And you like it, or she likes it at the very least. Let's move up here. We might be able to get the kill with this unit. Oh, she wants to test the mechanical keys. Are you liking the brown switches?
Enemy destroyed.
I'm not really a big, like, person that knows a lot of stuff about peripherals, like keyboards and stuff. Like, I just don't know a lot about that kind of stuff. But I have a Logitech keyboard that has the Romer G. I like it okay. But again, I'm not really finicky with that kind of thing. I've been using membrane keyboards for years. Although, like, before that, it would have been mechanical keyboards, like the IBM clones and stuff. So, but it's just never something I've ever really paid attention to. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I was asking if you like the switches. Because you were looking for the Cherry MX Brown switches, if I remember correctly. Okay, we have to be careful with where we move. Is the keyboard, from a audio perspective, meeting your expectations? Is it too loud? Are you good with it, or... Oh, let's move here. Ah, clears. Okay, it's not louder than you expected. Okay, that's good. I have a feeling this guy's gonna flank me, so I have to be careful. But I also want to get in range and hit this guy. Maybe just give myself some cover on that side, and then we'll just attack this guy straight on. 75%? I guess that's alright. Yeah. I think reds are a little bit more common usage. Alright. So in theory, if we move here... Oh, if we move there, we can't see him anymore. I guess we'll move here. That's far enough away, I guess. If it's not, we can always double-check things. Yeah, that's out of range. Yeah. We need to be within 3 of this guy, ideally. Because I want to put the... I feel like this guy's gonna, like, attack me over here. 1, 2, 3... 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can only really move back 1 if I want to be able to fire. How far up would these guys have to move? Not that far, and then I'd be out in the open. Well, let's see. Would I be in contact with the enemy here? Could he get to me? He sure can, so... I don't want to take the huge amount of damage that he could hit me with, so... Let's just move back here to support. Alright. Who haven't I moved? Oh. Cherry MX speeds. They're basically Cherry MX blacks, but with less latency. Yeah, see, I don't know what all the switches are. I had to look up a lot of that stuff when I was buying a keyboard. Ooh, missed some point-blank shots. Yeah, so I'm not surprised to see that attack. High activation force linears. Okay, gotcha. Alrighty. I think we pretty much got this combat tied up. Let's have the Pug get in here and get a shot in so we can see what that looks like. Although I have used this unit before, so I really already know what it looks like, but you guys don't know what it looks like. There you go. Let's try and finish this guy off.
Enemy neutralized.
Gotcha. Whereas browns have a tactile feel. Yeah, that's what you... If I remember correctly, blues have like more of an auditory element to them. Oh no, I messed up my movement. It's alright, we're not gonna lose the action point. I think this game's fairly forgiving with like the action point system and what have you. Yeah, the clicky switches, gotcha. Let's just move up a little bit here. Yeah, like that kind of thing is kind of problematic when you're like a content creator, like a lot of sound and stuff. Like, even though I didn't go with like clicky keyboards per se, you really have like some issues with mechanical keyboards and them being picked up. Okay, so we got 70%, or we can do this and get 60. Yeah, let's just go with.
Enemy eliminated.
Alright, so we just need to take care of the big guy now. I wonder how accurate, like, when it says 25% chance to hit, I wonder how accurate that is. I think we might be able to kill him here, so let's just be aggressive. I don't think the amount of damage output he can do would even kill me anyway. I mean, ideally I wouldn't want to take it, but... And then we just finish him off with the pug. Maybe move over a little bit so that we're not firing over this train. Oh, apparently that didn't make much difference.
Enemy annihilated.
Okay.
Our forces are victorious.
That was good. Like we took very little damage in that fight. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to do, because you do have an element of... Alright, wait, hold on. If you hover... So this guy got 3 experience, but did everybody get 3 experience? Yeah, everybody got 3 experience. So I don't 100% know why this guy leveled up. Maybe it's just like a different threshold. So for here you need 32 to level up. And here you need... Well, I guess 24 or 26 or something. I don't know. Well, that's what he has now, but... Alright.
Objective completed.
Okay, so we got our objective. We got some relationship points and other things. We're going to go ahead and take that reward. Who treads there in the shadows of my throne, hiding like thieves? Come closer, into the light. Let me see your faces. Ah, it is you, the ones who claim to have returned through the spatial rift. Tell me, soldier, what was the name and designation of your mission? My name is Jack Gelder, commanding officer of the VES Frontier. We secured the Katoni system, deployed through a Type 4 cryosleep mission 197 years ago. That being said, with all due respect, you better have a bloody good reason to treat us like this. 197 years, 58 days, and 20 hours ago, to be precise. The Frontier seemed like a fine ship back then. Congratulations, Commander. You have passed. So it is true. The void storms have subsided. This is excellent news. I would invite you all to a celebratory dinner. Is it me, or does he look a lot like, what is his name? Whatever Joe? The guy from, Fury Road. That has to be intentional. Look at him. Alright, anyway. I would invite you all to a celebratory dinner, but as you must have noticed, we are barely sustaining ourselves. I do owe you an apology, Commander. You must understand our situation. When the planet lost contact to Vanguard Central Command, it had no means of supply. Soldiers make for bad farmers, and as rations grew short, tensions within the Vanguard began to boil. They split into different parties, the Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire Squad. While alas, only a few remain loyal to the Paragon. Yeah, I'm sure you can do this, like, You could probably roleplay this Warhammer 40k-ish if you wanted to. But yeah, this guy's giving me the Fury Road vibes here. Maybe that's not what they were going for, but that's what I'm seeing. Since then, they have been fighting over food, weapons, and resources, laying waste to the planet with experimental Prometheum weapons. They assault anyone and raided all other Paragon command posts. We were desperate, but now, with your arrival and the prospect of rejoining the Union, we can surely put an end to this tragedy. No, that's fine. With this type of game, you know, if you have fun role-playing Warhammer 40k, then that's something you can do. It's just like Stellaris, right? You could make, you know, things theme along that line if you want to. It's just whatever makes the game fun for you. You're perfectly fine with doing that.
Objective completed.
I mean, this game has its own story world and everything, but it's up to, when you play the scenarios, I don't think the story really matters too much. When you play the campaign, maybe it does. Well, it does, but... Okay. Oh, we got a unit here, it looks like. So they're now at peace, so we've done our quest. We get to take this stuff. So we just gained this unit. I want to see what it is. Oh, that's good. I like to see mods like that. All right, let's see. What's this unit? And then we'll probably take a break here for my 2-hour break because my cats, they get their snack at about 2 o'clock. As a matter of fact, the one cat's circling me like a shark right now. So I need to feed her before she gets too upset. But let's see. So we got melee weapon, a shock spear. Stab the target with this unit's spear. It still does kinetic-based damage though, so it's not like... Doesn't seem like it's an attack that does energy damage though. Or arc damage, I apologize. That's the... yeah, that is a problem sometimes with mods. I had that problem with the Star Trek New Horizons mod. It's very demanding on your system. Okay, high impact stagger units, reducing action points and canceling defensive modes. Bypasses all. I have to believe that's shields. That symbol has to be shields because it makes sense. Only affects ground targets. Shield charge. This is where you get the arc damage if you want. This unit's charge forwards, knocking back its target and taking its place. Can only target light units. Okay. So, stagger units, reducing action points and canceling defensive modes. Bypasses all, I'm guessing, shields. Only affects ground targets. Okay. And then we've got pretty standard stuff. Yeah, so we get this... Yeah, it's shields. That's what okay, it's sitting right here. Shields. So if somebody attacks me... So flanking does matter. Because... What? You're coming from a Warhammer 40k fan. Why do they have power fists and chain swords and all kinds of stuff? It's fun. That's why. This is a cyborg unit. Yeah. Well, our race is more range combat focused, but there are other races that are more focused on other types. You know, there's an insectoid race which I think is more melee focused. So it does definitely exist in this game. All right, so that's the unit we got, and we could buy more of those if we want. As a matter of fact, so we can buy a soldier. What does a soldier do? He's got an assault rifle, or grenade, so it seems pretty similar to our standard units. So this is all we get from being at peace. So we get a little bit more relationship, we get to friendship, and then we can get even more stuff and so on. So it seems like the more you get that going, the better. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, like, I agree with you to a certain extent, but it's like Dune, right? Dune, there's an emphasis on melee weapons. All right, guys, I'm going to take a little bit of a break here. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a save file here, just as a precaution. We'll call this Game 1. There is an autosave function. But yeah, like when we're talking about sci-fi stuff, like I think that like Dune was a big was a big influence on a lot of science fiction, in particular Warhammer 40k. Warhammer 40k does use a lot from Dune. Some of it more the story arc type stuff, like the way that you know, like you have that imperial structure and you know all that stuff. Like it's definitely an influence. It's not necessarily exactly the same, but there's a big influence there. But also in Dune, like very strong melee emphasis. Now they explain it through the lore, but you know, it is what it is. In any case, we're gonna go ahead and take the break. It's gonna be about a 10-minute break here, so you know what? It's not gonna be a 10-minute break because I kind of want to just resume here. So I'm just gonna take a break long enough to feed my kitties and go bathroom breaks and. Well, when I say Dune, I'm talking more about the books. When you're talking about a watch, are you talking about the 80s era movie, or because that has a lot of caveats to it? I think the general consensus of that movie is that it is not very good. It's one of those movies I want to like. I want to like Dune, but I think aesthetically, Dune does a lot of good stuff, but plot-wise, Dune does some silly stuff. But that's a discussion for another time. In any case, I'll be right back, guys.